Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the RISMedia Agent Broker Webinar Series. We are so excited to have this amazing topic today and some incredible guests that are with us. I'm Verl Workman, CEO of Workman Success Systems that specializes in coaching and developing high-level seven-figure agents and teams. And we're excited to be part of this. We've got some amazing people here. We also want to just start with a few ground rules today. The first ground rule is, get out your pens and make sure that you're ready to take copious notes. The second ground rule I'm going to tell you, if you look on both sides of your chair, wherever you're sitting, for the seat belt and buckle up, because the information that both of our panelists are going to share with you is real and actionable, and we want to make sure that you're buckled up and paying attention and focus. So put your cell phones down and just stay focused with us for the next 55 minutes or so as we really get into what it means to be a lifestyle agent and to succeed in luxury real estate, because it's just such interesting information, and we're going to see if we can remove some of the limiting beliefs that exist in a lot of the agents and brokers today. These webinars would not be even available or possible if we didn't have tremendous leaders and partners. And today we have a partner with us with Homes.com, and we're grateful for Homes.com and for their sponsorship. And I'd like to introduce everybody to James Glenn before I introduce our panelists, and just hear a little bit about what Homes.com is doing. Now, guys, when we talk about a partnership, for me, as you come onto these webinars, what a partnership means is this is someone who's investing in your development. And what I've learned is the way that we say thank you is by genuinely taking a look at what they have to offer and seeing if it's a good fit. So I'm going to encourage you all to do that just for being here. And James, thank you for your support, and thank you for Homes.com. Tell us what Homes.com's up to real quick.
I absolutely love it, and thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it, and it's an absolute honor. Here in San Diego, we absolutely have our fair share of lifestyle agents. If you want to break into new luxury markets, the answer is simple: Homes.com. You can be showcased as a local expert in your luxury zip code today. 68% of our visitors are not working with an agent. 73% plan to move in the next 6 months. 50% are already pre-approved. With Local Connect, you'll be showcased as one of 3 local experts under active listings in your picture and phone number directly underneath the listing, so you can connect with live consumers. This will connect you with quality ready consumers and lead you to faster conversions. All phone leads are also exclusive to you alone, no sharing. My agents are connecting and closing more deals from the comfort of their living room now more than ever. It's reasons like this that RISMedia has showcased Homes.com as one of our most trusted real estate portals for quality leads. One absolute game changer that makes Homes.com stand out from any other portal is our lead concierge service. We will ensure that every call is screened. We'll make sure that they're not working with an agent, make sure that they're pre-approved with a loan. Once we screen the lead, we will transfer them to you live. Stats show that when you answer the call within 5 minutes, you're 100 times more likely to close the deal. No leads will ever fall through the crack again, and you will always be that first point of contact. Luxury agents, they work smarter, not harder. Now, for a limited time, we will actually screen an unlimited amount of leads, whether it's 5 or 5,000 from any source, whether it's Zillow, Realtor, Trillia, etc. It will all be included with our lead concierge service today. So pick up the phone today and text discount codes ZIPS to 484848, and you can actually receive up to 50% off all of our zip code lead generation programs today. Yet again, text ZIPS to 484848, and we look forward to making 2021 your best year in the business yet. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, James, and thanks to Homes.com. And I want to roll up my sleeves and get into it. James, I appreciate you being here, and I want to encourage you to stay on the call. And as you have questions, to just feel free to interact with our guests today, and let's have a little bit of a great discussion. For those of you that are on your go-to webinar platform, I want you to look to where the button is that says questions. And if you will do this for me, go to where it says questions, click on it, and go ahead and type in hello and where you're from, so that I can see that you all know how to use it. And then once I see that, I can see all your questions on my screen. I'm going to do my best to relate the questions that you have to our panelists so that we can have a really strong interactive discussion today. And so I'll encourage you to use the questions, and let's open it up for questions. Let's see if I can see that. I'm starting to see them. Very good. Okay, so say hello and where you're from. And Peter, if you can help me moderate that, that would be great. All right, so let me start by, so Sarah, when did you and I first meet? So I want to talk about kind of how you got into the luxury market. I'm going to give a little bit of a bio really quick so everybody knows who Sarah is. Everybody say hello to Sarah Knauer. She is deeply passionate about so many things, but really it's about helping each family find their perfect home in her favorite city. She lives and sells in the Los Angeles, California area, specifically focusing in an area called Amalfi Estates. She got a real estate license her senior year in college while she was pursuing a liberal arts degree at Pepperdine. And she's currently working to obtain her broker's license and advancing her education and what the options that are available to her. She assists all types of clients, from first-time home buyers to very serious investors to international multi-home buyers. She's involved in her community and has a very strong level of passion, not just her, but everybody on her team with Make-A-Wish Foundation and the Pacific Palisades Chamber of Commerce. So Sarah, welcome. So glad that you have the time and made the time to share some of your information with us today.
Of course, it's nice to see you and to be here, Verl. Thanks for inviting me.
So Sarah, just give a little bit of background. Like, you're on a luxury team, but you came right out of college into real estate. That couldn't have been that easy for you. How did you do that? Like, you, as a young entrepreneur getting out of college, thinking, oh, I'm going to go sell multi-million-dollar houses.
Well, I learned very quickly that it probably wasn't going to happen on my own right off the bat. So I just went through the Wall Street Journal Real Trends list, and I reached out directly to every agent that was in LA that had made it on that list in the last couple of years, asking for a licensed assistant position where I would have opportunity to have a salary, but also earn commission. And that's where I met Anthony. And for a couple of years, it was him, who was the broker and the owner of Amalfi Estates, myself, and one other assistant. And then after a little while, we just quickly realized that we could not handle all the business that Anthony had. And that's when Anthony found Verl. And we really formed an awesome team. I moved from the assistant position into doing sales. And here we are today.
Yeah, it was really funny. As a matter of fact, Sarah, I don't know if you know this, but it was after one of these RISMedia webinars that Anthony called me and said, hey, we need to grow. I need a coach. And I happened to pick up the phone that day, and it's been really fun to watch the transition. At the time, it was you and one other assistant with Anthony. What does your team look like today?
Oh, we are, I think, about 20 to 25 people right now. We went from 8 to 9-ish to the beginning of 2020, and have now basically, almost tripled in size during the pandemic, actually. So Office Space is our next project.
Office Space was the original project, if I remember right, and believing we could do so much in such a small space. Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about as you advise agents who would like to work in the luxury and create kind of this lifestyle and work in that space. Take us through kind of your thought process and how you develop your reputation and branding to have the confidence to move forward.
Yeah, so first, you definitely need to think about, what does luxury mean in your market? Is it a $500,000 price point? Is it $1 million price point? Here in LA, it's entry level homes are about $2-3 million. So is that $10 million, 15, 20? What price point do you want to be in? So define that. And then you need to really take a look and see, what do I need to do to break into that price point, and identify some key ways to put yourself in front of those clients. Do you need to, target a different neighborhood maybe? Is it just certain homes on different lot sizes? Whatever that might be, figure out exactly what you need to do and then start implementing those ideas.
So I have a question. So has your definition of what luxury means to you changed over your last 4 or 5 years?
Yes, I think yes and no, I would say. I always expanding, always wanting to reach into some more high price point homes, of course. But then I think, in addition, I'm still trying to just focus on, okay, how can I how can I help just people on the west side of LA, whether it's, you know, a $1 or $2 million home to start with, because I know I'm going to continue growing with those clients. And I do realize, I think more so now than I maybe did 5 or 6 years ago, that that's a really high price point home, and those should be treated as luxury, even though in our market, it's on the lower end.
Yeah, I think that when we first started working together, houses that were under $1 million, we would refer out, because we weren't trying to build the image in that luxury price point. So I think that it's interesting how your perception of the value of that client, regardless of what they're buying, has changed. Because $1 million house is a lot of money to anybody, really.
Absolutely.
And I love the service behind that, is you're caring about the individual, not about the price of home they're buying. That's a big differentiator. So how do you step in and get the confidence? Like, so many people feel like they don't have it.
Absolutely, because you're going to be trying to work with people that have really high net worth. They might have really important jobs, and it might be a little bit intimidating. For me, something that always helps is, you know, looking my best, presenting in a way that I feel I look like I fit in with this group of people that I'm trying to work with, whether it's your outfit or your hairdo or your car, even how you show up to that appointment. It's all really important, and I think plays a lot into the confidence that you'll carry in being able to work with these clients.
Yeah, I think that's really important when you, I've even seen Anthony help agents that are wanting to grow and get that confidence, make sure they have the right vehicle and they don't look like they can't afford to get gas to drive to the listing. I think people look at that. Appearances do matter. People judge. And unfortunately, I wish it wasn't true, but first impressions matter, don't they?
They absolutely matter. And you feel different too. I remember when he really pushed me to get a new car, I was 24 and I was, you know, I had to find this right car that I could afford that still looked sharp. But then I got in that car every day and I felt so good, and like, you can just do anything.
I think it matters. It's the same way when you get up and shower before you go to work versus, you know, putting on your sweats and going to your Zoom calls. When you get up and you dress for success, it changes your physiology and just makes you feel better. Like you want to go attack the day because you've dressed up and you're prepared to meet with clients. That's a really important takeaway for everybody that's here. Talk about the branding and how that makes a difference in your luxury brand and how you position yourself in the marketplace.
Yeah, so, and I apologize, we actually have an even more updated logo from this one, but that plays a lot into it. You know, there's a lot of fancy companies that have really, really sharp marketing that look good, and a lot of real estate, and again, unfortunately, but a lot of it is smoke and mirrors. And does it look like you're doing a lot of work? Do you look like you're in a fancy market? Do you look like you're showing a lot of houses? Does your logo, does your brand, does your marketing reflect that, reflect all of that? So this was one of Anthony's older logos, the AM Realty. It doesn't really sound very fancy. And now, you know, he changed his company name and got really much sharp, cleaner lettering, and it's Amalfi Estates. Amalfi is one of the most famous streets in the Riviera neighborhood of the Pacific Palisades, which is where our office is and where we used to do most of our business. Now we've definitely expanded, but it just has a much better connotation when you hear Amalfi Estates as opposed to AM Realty.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing that's interesting, and I don't know if you all are thinking about this, but AM is Anthony Margulis, who is the team leader, and he changed the brand instead of being all about him to being all about the community that is served, that allowed him to create leverage and have other people support clients. So there's a real strategy in the branding if you want to create scale. I don't know, I've learned that when you're good at the business, it just attracts more business. And if you make it all about you, it's hard to delegate and share with others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's talk about what you do in part of the lifestyle theme of this call is talking about the lifestyle. Talk to me a little bit about the lifestyle, how you integrate yourself into the community of the luxury buyers and sellers.
Yeah, so sponsoring events is a great way to do it. As you can see here, every year we sponsor a golf tournament for one of the local elementary schools, have gotten involved in some polo tournaments, getting a table, inviting clients, also charity events. I think this is coming up, but I'll touch on it now. That's a really wonderful way to connect with clients. We actually donate about 10% of our commission from each sale to one of 5 or 6 charities that the client gets to choose from. And it's a really nice way, one, to bond with a client, and then when you can then invite them to the Make-A-Wish Gala or to a beautiful event, they enjoy it, they kind of want to donate, and a nice way to connect with your clients, to maybe meet new clients, and then also you're giving back to your community. And again, oftentimes it's very expensive to buy these tables. You're going to be putting yourself in front of these high net worth individuals that will help you grow your business more.
So is it okay if I spend a minute on this topic? Because I think that a lot of people won't do hard things for themselves, but when they see the impact that you can have on the community and the people around you. So share with me some of the charities that you guys get involved with, and how hard is it, to grow a team where we're making a commitment to give 10% off the top of our commission to a local charity. That's like, has that been a hard thing to recruit to?
We're very upfront about it at the beginning. So if somebody is not okay with that from the first time they speak with Anthony or meet anybody on the team, then they already kind of self-eliminated. And I think for the most part, our team finds people where we know, 10% is so small compared to what you can make in real estate that it really shouldn't matter that we're doing it. It feels so good to do it. You get to be then invited to these events. Some of the charities, the Make-A-Wish, that's an awesome charity. I know there's chapters all over the country. They do an insane gala, especially in LA, where they have, amazing performers and celebrity hosts and all of that. There's a specific real estate board too, where these guys just basically challenge each other who can raise their hand to commit $10,000 at a barbecue in somebody's backyard, stuff like that. It's really awesome. Then we also are involved in the People Concern, which is with homelessness. I'm on the board of that charity. We have Wags and Walks for animals, American Cancer Society. They do a nice gala every year. And then also Homeboy Industries is another one that we're involved with.
So tell me about the homelessness and the Homeboy Industries. And I don't mean to spend too much time on this, but I believe personally that your desire to make a difference in the community you serve is how you integrate into becoming a lifestyle and luxury agent. And that concept behind it is one of the keys to success of the entire team.
Yeah, so Homeboy is an awesome charity where they work with taking former gang members, people that were in jail, and getting them jobs, because they found that one of the most common reasons people end up in jail or in a gang is because they don't have a job. So I've done a couple tours there, and these people tell their stories, and like you'll have 10 people just weeping. It's a really, really impactful thing to do. And it started by a local I'm blanking on his name, but Father Boyle, I think is his name. And he's part of, I think, Loyola Marymount, a high school that people go to. He's really a local guy. People know him. And it's something that everyone gets around, which is great. And then the People Concern, that's a really good one. Homelessness right now in Los Angeles is the problem has grown, and we see it way more now than we ever have before. And so it's been really cool opportunity for me to get to be on the board of a charity like this. And I wouldn't be able to do it if Amalfi didn't give back so much, because it's very expensive to join these charity boards. But I get to sit and be exposed to some incredible people that are on this board, and just helps, like, that's good for me to be around and be exposed to the kinds of people that are involved with something like this. And it just helps elevate my life, my career, my credibility, all of that, to sit on a board like this. And especially right now, again, and homelessness, it ties into housing. So that's something that I clearly work with people that get housed, and there's a large group of them that need housing. So we're working on that.
So I love that. I have some other questions kind of about the luxury branding and what you're doing with that, but talk a little bit about how you differentiate yourself from other people that, let's say they're in the luxury market. What are the things that you do that really separate you from everybody else?
So I try to do, whenever I'm doing gifts or a little item, I don't want it to be trash. Oftentimes you get something dropped off and it's a branded something, and you're just think, what am I ever going to do with this? And so we've done some really nice bottles of wine where it's a $50 bottle of wine that has our Amalfi logo on it. People will still hopefully want to open this bottle because it's a good bottle of wine. They don't mind that it says Amalfi on it. Some nice swell bottles. I did, for some really great clients last year, I did some Patagonia jackets with a very, very slight Amalfi on the arm. People flipped out. I got somebody, they literally said, my daughters want to make sure that we buy a house with you because their friends have the Amalfi jacket. People love that. As soon as somebody gets a referral to us, they have a gift card or a bottle of wine dropped off that day. Just anything. When my closing gifts, I do a really nice candle that has the address printed on. It's very special. Just anything that is a little bit above and beyond that's sets you apart and reminds people, oh, this is a classy person that you are dealing with. I think that goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So Sarah, how was it? What was the transition time, and how did your team leader get to the point where he felt comfortable allowing you to work directly with a multi-million-dollar buyer or seller? Like, what was the development so you had the confidence and he had the confidence to let it go? Because so many of our luxury agents don't believe they could ever build a team because, you know, it's all about them and their knowledge and experience. The transfer of knowledge and experience from one agent to another is difficult. What was your growth process?
Well, at first, you know, he was much more involved, I would say, in the processes, and I would end up, you know, maybe doing some showings at $10 million houses with clients and taking them around just because simply he had another appointment and that he couldn't be there, or a listing that he had, you know, LeBron James came to one day and I'm 23 years old doing the showing, things like that, just because you're there and you know the house, and that's, you know, the role that you get yourself into. And then I think as, you know, he saw me to be able to communicate effectively and kind of hold my own, and I was involved in so many deals my first year of being his assistant, that then those clients, you know, the next year have confidence in me because I know what I'm doing. So it went pretty quickly. And again, I think sometimes it was just as out of necessity, he had to let it go because there was only two of us and he had to let me go with the client.
And there was so much business being attracted.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I don't think he would have been willing to let it go if you weren't exceptional and that you weren't stepping up to the role. I think he would have continued to hold on to it. So it says a lot about your desire to learn the market. How important is market knowledge and what's going on in the marketplace in the luxury market then in your growth and development?
It's important. I mean, I think people look at real estate all over LA. It's a hobby, right? How many times people, it's like news items, houses sale, and it's in the news. And it's really an interesting thing because people are keeping an eye on it. They'll be like, oh, did you see this so-and-so's house sold? And it's hard to keep up with, but it's a really good talking point. So you have to be able to kind of, you know a little bit about what's going on, whether it's just in your exact marketplace and somebody wants to know what that off-market house down the street from them sold for, or if it's, you know, some fun mansion in Beverly Hills that's, you know, the price that dropped $100 million or something like that. And then I think it's always good to have a slight, maybe a different take on something that everyone is saying. So right now what's happening, everyone's saying there's no inventory. And then I like to say, well, actually more homes have sold this year than sold this time last year. So more homes actually are available. It's just they're going under contract so fast that at any given time, there's less. So, you know, I try to spin it a little bit and get people thinking too.
Oh, that's so huge. Like when you say to everybody that there's no inventory, you take them out of the market. Like, why would you want to take somebody out of the market? There's more houses selling now than there were a year ago. So let's get them in the market and help them figure out what they have to do to win and to be able to compete in the market today. I think that's a very, very interesting choice of words that you're messaging to. Let's talk to us a little bit about your marketing and what are some of the things you do from a unique lead generation perspective?
Yeah, so something that, you know, Anthony did for a long time, and then I started doing too, writing articles or being part of local magazines. This one was a really cool, so it was a new magazine that somebody started and they needed a story. And so I wrote about a trip I took to Europe. And then I said, okay, if you let me write this story, then I'll also take out a full page ad. That way there's more than just an ad with 4 homes on it that there's like, you know, 10 of from 5 different real estate companies. I wanted to kind of be more part of the magazine and get involved and have people notice something else about me too.
I love that. And it's good looking. What are some of the other things to stay at the front of mind of clients so that when they think about buying or selling, they think of you first?
Mm-hmm. So I hired somebody to do my social media. I don't have I have 1,500 followers. It's nothing to speak of. but I just know that I am terrible at posting on Instagram. I take an hour to decide what the caption should be. I'm not good about remembering to take photos of a house I sold or like showings, whatever it might be. So I hired somebody to do it, and she will hound me for, you know, just personal photos, for photos of homes that I've been asked for when are closed, or she'll say, like, please, if you're out this weekend, take some pictures while you're showing. So she posts them, and she's made it a really nice grid. It sounds like it's coming from me. No one would ever know that it's not me. It's not like a company that's doing this. It's a person. And that really helps, because I think that I definitely stay in the front of people's minds more. And I do once in a while, I get someone to reach out via Instagram, not that often, but it's more just when that person you went to college with is maybe thinking about buying a house, then they're going to remember that you do that.
Sarah, there's I hear from people all the time that won't work in my market. That's like one of the favorite things I hear from people is, you know, oh, everybody wants me. And then the second thing is, well, in our market, it's different.
Yeah.
One of the things that I hear constantly is that, well, in luxury real estate, we don't do open houses. How do you respond to that?
So I respond that I thought a lot of those things and I was totally wrong. And absolutely, in any market, you can run your business in a way that you can scale and you can elevate it, and you can do open houses. Now, maybe somehow some lady won't let you do it at her house, and that's okay. But for the most part, yes, there's new construction. Of course, a developer is going to want open houses all day long at that listing. Or maybe you can tell the person who's finicky, what if we do it by appointment only? So we say we're going to be quote unquote open, but they have to schedule an appointment. Or can I have a team member sitting in every room of the house to make sure no one goes through your doors? What can you do to change that? And people don't, if they want you for certain things, they don't necessarily want you for everything. So if you're going to be the one on the phone and at the initial appointment with that client, but you know that you might not see them on a showing for another 3 weeks, that's okay. And then you show up and you see the house, and if you're passing them off, and a good way to do that is to confidently tell them, actually, my assistant or my partner, my associate, whoever it is, does this part of the job better than I do it, and I'm going to step back in when my part of the job comes back.
So you set it up in the beginning that they're going to work with a team of experts, as opposed to it's all about you as an individual.
Yeah, Anthony would do that a lot, especially when I was, working more for him, and we would go to a listing appointment, and he would say, Sarah's going to be the one most likely showing your home, but she's going to do it much better than I will do it. And even though I was very young in the business, people were okay with it because he set it up front.
So would you say your listing presentation is different than most, or is it like everybody else's where you have a 21-page book with 17 things you do when you list?
So this was a version that is we're working on, where it's more of a I think like a video here that you get sent out to people and it plays. So it tells something about Amalfi and maybe why to work with us. We do also have the other listing presentation, but this is a really cool book that we found that it seems like a great way to get in front of people that was really, really different than what you typically see.
Sir, can I ask you what the highest dollar sales home you've ever done is?
The most expensive one I ever sold was 10.5 million.
10.5 million, that's really cool. And the team just took a pretty big listing.
Yes, Anthony got the Hearst estate listing. So the team has I think we're at 90 million.
For one property. That's just it's incredible. And so, talking about the specific things that Sarah's doing to market and to differentiate and to communicate, this isn't like I wish I could do it. This is someone who's really actually doing some tremendous real estate, not just individually, but in the entire team. And it's super cool to listen to. Talk to me a little bit about networking and how important that is to you. I remember, I don't even know how many years ago, when you decided as a team that we were going to do coffees, and that we were going to go through your top 50 and start just having coffee with people. Talk to me about networking and what that means to you.
Yeah, so also a little two different things there. One, yes, working with your sphere of influence and your top 50 is so important. I always think when I feel like I don't have a lot in escrow, or things are a little bit slacking at work, I just text my friends and set up coffee and walks and dinner and drinks, and I just get my calendar busy and full, and then stuff happens. And it's pretty amazing to watch that work. Another thing to do, like we have mentioned here, is to actually join a group where you're working with other professionals and you are giving referrals back and forth, or, you know, hopefully meeting people that they themselves might need to buy or sell a home.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. It's the networking and who are the people that can refer you business. How much business would you say comes out of that high-end networking and giving business to these attorneys and estate planners and divorcers and all that? How much business comes out of those high-end networking? Would you say it's a significant pillar?
I would say like maybe a quarter to a third can come out of that. And I think the longer that you stick with it, the more you get from it. So again, your first, you know, month or two, nothing might happen, but 2 years later, you might realize, oh, actually a lot of good stuff came out of this.
This goes back to the donations and the charities you talked about. Great picture. Love these.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. It's a photo from a networking event that we went to with clients. And then there's, you know, when you're selling expensive homes, you make some pretty decent sized donations and it stands out.
You were talking about your social media. This is where your assistant's doing this for you?
Yeah, so she does my Instagram, and then totally your Zillow profile should be great. Have lots of reviews. The past sales I think are really important too. I send a link a lot of times to people with just my Zillow profile because it has everything that I want to show off. It has testimonials and it has past sales, and and my bio, and it's a really easy way to tell somebody a little bit about you.
So I'm interested that the catchphrase on the website is "We make a living by what we give."
Yeah, so I think that the whole phrase is we make we make a living by what we give, and you make a life by what you get. It's something like that. There's another half to it, but it means it's so true. You kind of get out of life, I think, what you put into it, and it does touch on your charity, the charity component, and it's so true with our business. You know, whatever you're going to put into real estate, you're going to get out of it, and I just think it encompasses all of that.
Absolutely agree. So joining a club, I remember going to your club the first time and looking around. I was told I couldn't use my cell phone. I had no idea what that meant. Who does that?
You can text, you just can't talk on it. Yeah, I think joining a club is a great way to meet people, and just it's good for your life and your business and everything. So down here we have a lot of beach clubs. I'm a member at one of the beach clubs down here, and you know, within a year I sold a home to somebody because we were at the same orientation dinner, and then I would see him constantly at that club, and he had another agent they were working with, but then it was an Amalfi listing and it just worked out, and he was part of the Make-A-Wish group, and it was a $2.2 million home. So all of that is a perfect example of how just being out in the world and doing these types of things come together. And so yeah, I love that story. And it's also just fulfilling. You know, if you like to work out, join the best gym where you're going to be around other people who are spending, you know, $300-400 a month at the gym. If you like tennis, golf, whatever it might be, join it and use it and become, you know, in the network of the people that are there, or get involved on one of the committees, whatever it might be, but actually use it, I would say.
So yeah, so I love that. When you're talking about lifestyle agent, it's that you can't just say I'm in the lifestyle, you live it. You actually join the clubs, participate in the groups, go to the events.
Yeah, you have to do it all, and it's not always easy to do, right? Anthony's like, Sarah, you got to join the Jonathan Club, you got to do it. And I'm 25 years old, and I was like, okay, I have to, you know, write a check and do this whole process, get the 6 sponsors, you have to do it. But it totally pays off. And it's cool when all of those worlds come together, like it did with that one client too.
Right. It doesn't take very many of those clients to take care of all your expenses associated with it. But you have to
be paid for a couple of years of it. I'm not worried. Yeah.
Right. You don't even think about it anymore. It's part of it.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest challenges everybody's talking about today is the lack of inventory. I like to say that we don't have a lack of inventory. You just don't have any of it. Mm-hmm. So it's not a market condition. It's a prospecting problem. Talk to me about what it means to have off-market inventory and how you message to your market about that.
Well, it's a little different now because a lot of the laws and rules have changed, so I will be careful. But It is very important, especially in a luxury market where people maybe want what they can't have. They want something special that nobody else has seen, or they've seen everything on the market, right? They don't like it. They want some unicorn special property. And that is when you need to do a few things. One, really know the other agents that are working in that area and in that market, because they're not our competition. They're the people that we work with, right? It's not often that we're doing deals with members on our own team or in our office. We're doing deals with other agents at other companies. So have a really good relationship with those people. If you know, oh, this agent works with a lot of developers, let me call them and see what they have coming up. Or, oh, they run this neighborhood and my client really wants to be in this neighborhood. Call that agent, because they're your friend and they're your partner and your peer. That's who you're working with. So relationships with other agents are huge, especially when it is competitive too, and you want to get your offer accepted. If they know you and they know you're going to get a deal done versus, 20 other people who wrote that they don't know, that goes a long way.
You spend a lot of time celebrating your relationships with the other agents that are your competitors?
Oh yeah, we give a bottle of wine when we are done. We go to drinks, absolutely. It's so important, because you're working with them. You're not working against them. You're working together to get deals done.
Such a cool concept that makes real estate non-confrontational. It's collaborative.
Yeah, very collaborative.
You talked about houses. We can skip this one because I think we handled that.
I'll touch on this really briefly. If you you're trying to break into a price point, sit open houses in that price point, and you will meet those neighbors, whatever it is. So just do that. Yeah.
Do you work around open houses? What do you do around listings to generate more interest or more inventory?
So it's great to invite the neighbors, whether if you drop off a little invitation, whatever it might be. Sometimes they'd say, hey, come by for wine and cheese. We've even a couple times we invited only the neighbors to come check this out one evening. We'll have snacks and wine and you come see it. And it's not even a real open house. It's just to let the neighbors come through, because there was construction on their street for 3 years and they were annoyed, and now they get to come see it. Love
that. You ever knock doors, or does that not happen in your market?
Have knocked doors. I don't know. Yeah, it has been a while, and I'm not sure what the protocol of door knocking is going to be moving forward. We'll see.
We have a lot of people, even in COVID, that are knocking doors, stepping back a couple feet, and trying to sell anything, but just saying, man, I'm getting so many offers in this neighborhood. If you can get top dollar, who do you know that might be interested in that? Yeah. That dialogue is working really great. Talk to me about market knowledge.
So knowledge of the area is really important, especially if you have somebody maybe moving in from out of town, whatever it might be. Again, you want to show that you're in the know and this is your neighborhood and you, again, live and breathe this stuff. So make sure you know the schools, all the private schools in the area, why people like ones over another, what clubs can they join? Hey, maybe they want to join that club that you are a member at and you can be their main proposer and help get them in, whatever that is. Restaurants, tell them where to go eat, send them a gift card. All that kind of stuff. If you're the person that they go to when they have a question about the neighborhood, that's good.
I love that. I love that. So talk about specializing your value, separating yourself.
So one way that we really separate ourselves is by the number of inspections that we do and the advisors that we recommend people get involved. So instead of doing, 2, 3, 4 inspections, we will uptimes do upwards of 10 or 12, 13 of them, because we want our clients to have a stack of 100 pages of reports that they know everything it is about the house. Depending on the price point, we recommend they get a real estate attorney involved just in case, because they want somebody to review all the paperwork and everything. So contractors, we will meet them with a designer, meet them with a contractor, whatever it is they might need, we will provide it and bring it there and offer this concierge level service that it's hard to compete with.
I think that's a huge differentiator, and not just any vendor. You're bringing the best in that specific area of expertise that you know. Okay, so how do you ask people like LeBron James for a referral? How do you ask people in this luxury market who you think are so elevated? Is it a weird thing to ask them for business?
It's not easy to do, that's for sure. But what I try to do is I try to have something of value that they or their friends might appreciate and then ask for the referral. So instead of just saying, hey, do you know anyone looking to buy or sell our house in Los Angeles, right? I try to say, hey, we have an off-market lot in the Huntington coming up. Do you know anyone looking to move into that neighborhood? And then it's something specific, it's an inside piece of information, and that will hopefully generate something. And I don't feel like I'm being annoying at all by asking them. I feel like they will appreciate that now they know that there's an off-market lot in this neighborhood coming up.
Fascinating. And so you put this slide, be confident. How do you gain it? Like, how do you gain the confidence? Because a lot of people are just afraid that they don't belong there. They've never sold luxury before. So how do you have the confidence to break in?
One, be really knowledgeable. That helps. If you know the contract well, even that way, when they have a question about it, you can explain what some random clause means, or you can explain the contingency periods and how to get out of it, or, you know, ways that you can strengthen your offer by removing an appraisal and a loan contingency, even if they're getting one, whatever it might be. Being able to rattle that stuff off is really helpful. Being poised and dressed well, that's a big one for me. I love to do Rent the Runway, so I can have this unlimited subscription. I rent designer clothes all the time for a couple $100 a month and send them back when you're done, and it is not an expensive way to do that, and you feel amazing showing up in like a $500 dress. Make sure that you have have a phone that works well, that's good, you know, have that car, have a computer that it's not gonna bog you down when you wanna quickly get an offer out to somebody, have all of that stuff set up really well. Another thing is have an assistant, because if you don't have an assistant, then you are an assistant. It also, I think, really elevates just you as a person and as an agent to say, oh yes, I'm looping in my assistant, they're gonna get these showings set up, or whatever that might be. It does help show that you have, you know, you're at that higher level.
Sarah, I'm trying to take a breath because there was so much information and so fun to talk to you and to hear all of the things and watch all of your tremendous growth as an individual and as a lifestyle agent. Is there anything that you would have done differently based on what you know today when you first decided you wanted to work with luxury real estate? Is there anything you would have done differently?
I think I, from the beginning, would have been more, as you tried to tell me, be more open-minded about what is possible in a luxury market. And instead of thinking I can only sell 4 or 5 homes a year, that no, I can absolutely sell 20, 30 homes a year if I want to. And to have been more diligent about being organized about my database from the beginning, because I'm sure there are people whose information I no longer have that I would love to have today, and be really, really, yeah, again, organized and diligent about my CRM and my contact database and all of that.
I love that. So what you basically said was listen to your coach.
Yes.
And then you said, you know, keep a better database, because the relationships you have are your most valuable asset. Like those are two things that really resonate with me in a lot of different ways. Whoever your coach is, like they look at the world differently, and they see things and they believe in things that you don't and haven't experienced yet. All right. Sarah, are you okay just hanging on with this? I want to talk to Josh a little bit and kind of add to some of the thoughts and things that you've shared with us, and then we'll come back and ask audience questions. Are you okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, if everybody was on video, I'd have them give you all jazz hands and say thank you. Josh, if you're like me, you're catching your breath from a whirlwind of information from Sarah. I want to introduce everybody. I got to go the right direction here, to Josh Tucker, the managing broker with HM Properties. Josh, welcome.
Hey, welcome, Verl and Sarah, everybody online listening. Appreciate it, and glad to be here.
So, Josh, I'm going to give everybody just a little bit of background that prior to joining HM Properties, you were the managing partner and broker in charge of Anchor Real Estate. You spent a couple of years as the managing broker of Compass Real Estate Group, where your hands-on leadership had and approached just massive growth with the company, which is really impressive. Canopy MLS Board of Directors, the Charlotte Housing Opportunity Foundation Board of Directors, and giving back and making a difference in the community. You've just got that tremendous experience in real estate, and I love having your thoughts and experience as we talk about creating this luxury brand and creating a lifestyle agent. I'd like to just have you tell us a little bit more about who you are and your focus on the high-end real estate.
Yeah. So, you know, you mentioned, you know, some of my past real estate stuff. I would say going back just a little further, before real estate, I spent about 11 years in NASCAR. So, you know, I networked pretty well throughout that industry and got to know a lot of, you know, great people inside and outside of that industry. Obviously, there's a lot of entertainers and athletes outside of NASCAR that have an interest in that sport. So yeah, spent 11 years just really honing my sphere of influence and getting to meet some great people. And that ultimately, when I got out of that sport and into the real estate industry, is what kind of pushed me into the luxury market. So I do a lot of business on the sports and entertainment side.
That's really interesting. So you're telling me that NASCAR drivers buy houses?
Yeah, big ones, expensive ones. Yeah, absolutely, and all over the world too. So that's pretty cool.
So I love. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a moment because I want to open up a window that my computer won't allow me to. Okay, we're good there. I'm gonna go back to. Actually, I'm gonna not share my screen as we just talked for a minute because I want to see you as we're visiting. And when I share my screen, I don't get to see you. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, perfect with me. Yep.
All right. So Josh, let's just kind of talk about your what it means to be a lifestyle agent. Like, how do you define that? What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So I think, lifestyle and luxury are obviously go hand in hand in a way, right? I mean, and there's a couple of different ways to look at lifestyle real estate. I saw a lot of real estate on Lake Norman in North Carolina, which is a really the largest man-made lake in the Carolinas. And, so that in itself is a lifestyle of its own. So, there's certain things that go around that lifestyle that you need to understand and know and kind of play that part as you're selling the real estate around that lake. Or, I'm also licensed in South Carolina, so we do a decent bit of real estate in Hilton Head and Kiowa Island and Wilmington and on the coast of the Carolinas. And it's the same thing there, that it's a lifestyle that you're selling. And, you got to understand that lifestyle to have the respect and get the business from the people that are buying or selling there.
You mind giving me some examples of what it means to be a lifestyle agent around that big lake?
Yeah. So, I mean, just everything from like, Sarah talked a lot about how you dress and, so it's a little different. Lake Norman's a very laid back lake. So, it's not uncommon for me to be showing $5 or $10 million houses and golf attire. I'll wear nice shorts and a polo shirt and some slip-on shoes. And that's what my buyers or sellers are also wearing. So I think just knowing your area, knowing who you're working with is extremely important, and then just everything from the different types of recreational activities that go on at the lake, whether it's a big fishing lake or is it a big wakeboarding or surfing lake, or kind of understanding what the lifestyle options around the lake are, the dining options, the main parts of the lake where people tie up boats and hang out and have parties and all those things. Knowing all that stuff is extremely important.
I think that's interesting. So do you participate in all those things? Do you wakeboard, surf, fish? Like you get into all that?
Yeah, I used to. I will say I ruptured my eardrum wakeboarding probably when I was still in NASCAR actually. So I jumped a wave and came down and landed on the left side of my head and ruptured my eardrum and had to leave straight from there and fly to Michigan for a NASCAR race. So being in a closed airplane for 2.5 hours with a ruptured eardrum wasn't fun. But yeah, I mean, I participate in a lot of that stuff, and certainly it's important to be out there and show your face and show people that you live the lifestyle.
Yeah, when you get to be my age, Josh, and I know you'll appreciate this, is we wake surf. So
right.
Low impact and low speed.
A little slower, right? Yeah.
Low impact and low speed. And I'm telling my wife that I need a fishing boat, and she says if you need every time I spend money on a boat, that's a handbag. So I have to be careful about that.
Yeah. I don't do a lot of freshwater fishing, but I do love to deep sea fish out in the ocean. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. So talk to me a little bit about how you differentiate yourself. So you're not the only person selling lake properties around Lake Norman and the other areas. What are some of the things that you do to set yourself apart from a marketing perspective so that people go, dang, I want to deal with Josh?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's what Sarah, even related to. I think market knowledge is extremely important. There's, we have a lot of athletes that buy and sell real estate around the lake. Obviously, NASCAR is headquartered here. Our company, HM Properties, is the official real estate partner with the Charlotte Hornets. So we do a lot of NBA players and coaching staff and employees. And so we have a lot of off-market opportunities here because, like Sarah said, buyers want what others can't get, or they don't want something that's always been exposed. So a lot of the things up here, to set yourself apart is knowledge based. You have to know who these people are that own these properties, know whether or not they're interested in selling. If they are they interested in selling on the market, off the market? Knowing of all those opportunities is really important. And then obviously just keeping yourself front of mind. I know Sarah commented on that some too. To people, you have to stay out there through social media. I think is a great way to constantly be touching your sphere, and staying relevant and being in front of people. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but those are some ways that have been successful for me.
So I love that you brought up in our pre-call webinar, you talked about telling a story and being able to tell a story. I believe that people relate and resonate with that. Do you mind elaborating on that a little bit and give me an example of what you mean by telling the story?
Yeah, so I mean, when selling property up here, especially around the lakes, you're selling, like I said, you're selling a lifestyle. So a lot of the times we'll market our properties around the lifestyle more than we'll market the property itself. So whether you're crafting remarks, you see a lot of listings that talk about the house and remarks on Zillow or Realtor.com. It's 5 bedrooms and it's 7,300 square feet and it has a movie theater. In our marketing material, we will more focus on the lifestyle. So how much water frontage comes with the house? What are some of the local amenities that you have close by? Are you buying in a country club atmosphere? And talk a little bit about the golf course and the designer of it and the tennis courts and a lot of those things that people come here for the lifestyle. They really do. So we market that. So whether it's through videography, we'll hire a lot of, we'll do a lot of lifestyle videography for our listings, where we'll hire actors and actresses and it's more cinematography and it tells a story. So we might show them shopping at a local gallery or boutique. They're going to leave there. They're going to go have dinner around the corner at a really, really nice restaurant where we know the chef personally and he comes to our table and greets us. They're going to leave there and they're going to head to the country club at the house for drinks with friends. So we do some videography where we try to really portray this lifestyle because that's what people are coming here for.
So I love that. So has your marketing and lifestyle presentation changed with the speed in which homes are listing and selling?
Yeah, it has for sure. And the thing is that sometimes it's easy, I think, to get drawn into a mindset of we don't need to do all these things because it's going to sell very quickly. We still do. We closed on one in the fourth quarter of 2020 where I represented the seller for $7.5 million, and I spent about $30,000 bringing that house to market. Between full page ads in several different magazines and videography and 4 different rounds of photography. We flew a photographer in for some lifestyle photography options. And the thing is that house sold in a day. So, the day it came to market, I had, roughly $30,000 spent. But we still use that today. It gets shared all over social media. I wake up every morning and there's an Instagram site that has shared, the highest price resale ever in the Charlotte Metro, 7.5 million sold. And we use that to our advantage, So just because you don't get to use it always, during the 3 or 6 months that it may normally take to sell the house, you can still use all that marketing material. And I say still go out there and do it.
I think that's a really important message is that when you get a listing, it's permission to market. And shouldn't eliminate the permission to market just because it's going to go under contract in 24 hours with multiple offers. Take the full advantage of marketing because that's what generates and drives more of the opportunities that are out there. I think that's a really good, important thing. You also, Sarah talked about agent relationships and the way she views other agents. So many agents think of themselves as prosecutors and defenders. and that they're in some kind of this, like the way they show their value is by beating the crap out of the other agent.
Yeah. Yeah. No, not here. I'm much like Sarah. I have great I really go out of my way to create very strong relationships with agents that are doing the business. Same as I'm sure in Sarah's market, 90% of the business is being done by 10% of the realtors. And it's very much like that here in our market. And, I pride myself in saying that I know those 10%, and I go out of my way to have great relationships with them. Same thing with Sarah. At closings, we give, I give gifts or things to the agents on the other side of the deal, constantly inviting them to coffee, constantly, having lunches with them, whatever it takes to, keep a good relationship with them. And it keeps everybody happy, and it keeps deals together.
So, Josh, this is a personal question, but I have a brother-in-law who's a golf pro and spends all day teaching other people how to play golf. And whenever he comes to visit with me, I want to go play golf, and it's the last thing he wants to do. So, do you still enjoy NASCAR?
I do, yeah. So I still have what we call a hard card in NASCAR, so it allows me to go every weekend. I got full access, so I can be in the driver and owner lots and in the garage areas and do all that stuff. And I still love it, but probably 30% of my business still comes from that industry, so it's a good bit. And the remaining 70% has come from opportunities I had through NASCAR, whether it was meeting other entertainers that were interested and came to races or whatever it was. So the sport has afforded me a lot, and I'm appreciative of that. And I still follow it and pay attention today. Yeah.
So I don't know about James and Sarah, but for me, what I love as I'm talking to you, Josh, is that you took something, you're passionate about it. And even though you're not participating in it like the level you were, you're able to still live your passion and maintain the relationships you have. Do you use your history with NASCAR to bring clients down to the pits with you and to expose them to the sport and to do things that develop deeper relationships because you find common ground or passion?
Absolutely. I'm a big car person in general, so I use that to my advantage as well. There's a lot of car shows and different things like that, but I would say 60% of my clients, whether they're buyers or sellers, a lot of them have big car collections. That's a big thing in our area. A lot of people are car collectors, and so that's kind of right up my alley. But yeah, I use my ties to the sport, and I take clients to events often. I'll rent suites at the local racetracks and take them there. We do a lot of that kind of stuff. And then being the official partner of the Hornets as well. I was just at the Hornets game versus Miami Heat earlier this week, and took a couple of clients there that have transacted probably $11 million of real estate with me in the last year and a half under over 3 different transactions. So love to give back that way. And Sarah talked a little bit about how we give gifts and things like that. And I do a lot of that. I give a lot of experiences. I try to really look at my sphere, my top 25 or top 50, and rather than sending a bottle of wine or something like that, I'll do experiences. I'll send a chef from a local restaurant to their house to cook for them, or take them to an event, or send them for a weekend getaway in Hilton Head or something like that.
So Josh, we're running out of time, and I want to spend more time talking to both of you. For those of you that want a copy of today's presentation and you want a free download of Ready, Set, Sell Home Buying Guide and Home Selling Guide from Homes.com, and also a free strategy session with Workman Success Systems to really understand and learn how to create leverage in your life and your business, go to workmansuccess.com/luxury. So let me have you type that. Let me just everybody write that down. Workmansuccess.com/luxury, and we'll give you downloads from today's presenters, as well as an opportunity to find out what we might be able to do to help you grow your business and take it to the next stratosphere. I hate that I don't have more time for questions for both of you. Josh and Sarah and James, thank you all for being such willing givers for the presentation today. I think I learned something from everybody on the call today, and I know that our listeners did as well. And so I wish you all continued success in your endeavors as you continue to enjoy the lifestyle that you've created, that you help other people create. And for those of you that are on this call thinking about whether or not you could get into luxury, Josh, give me a final thought. Should you do it?
Absolutely. Anybody can do it. You just got to put your mind to it and know that you're good enough. I think a lot of the times people lack the confidence, but don't lack the confidence. Get up, dress your best, and get out there and do it, and you can make it happen.
And Sarah, would you recommend people get into the luxury side?
Ditto everything Josh said.
Okay, I love that. On behalf of RISmedia, Workman Success Systems, and Homes.com, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you on the next RISMedia webinar series. Bye, everybody, and thank you so much. What a great call today.
What an honor.